Hello everyone, and welcome to the Elm Park Journey. My name is Diana Howe, and I am the lay leader for Elm Park United Methodist Church. This is a web-based series that is bi-weekly. In each episode, we have a special guest that talks to us about upcoming events, programs, and announcements. My guest today is our senior pastor, Reverend Mike Biala. So how are we doing this afternoon?
We're doing well.
Well,
doing
that's
well.
good.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too.
Thanks.
Recently, you put together something called the Discipleship Pathways and put up on one of our bulletin boards a whole lot of information about that. Can you tell us exactly what you're talking about?
Sure. Glad to. Well, let me go back to the foundation of why we're a church, and that is that we're to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. And sometimes the church does better at helping people with their needs, physical needs or emotional needs. And we forget about the spiritual side, as strange as that is to say. But a pathway of discipleship is a way that a church can help map out for folks a way that they can grow spiritually along a journey. And in United Methodism, it was John Wesley's idea that we grow from the time that we're born until the time that we go on to be with God on this journey of faith, and that there are ways to kind of check ourselves as we go to make sure that we stay on the path and we follow it and we're always growing. This notion that somehow after confirmation we're done, we've done everything we can do is not really been beneficial for the mission of the church. So we're trying across the denomination really to bring back this idea of a discipleship pathway and to help people find their way along it to have a more fulfilling Christian experience.
Well, that makes sense to me. I know as an adult, I think many times I have more questions about my faith than I did in younger years when I was learning about it and became confirmed. So this process really excites me. Could you talk to us a little bit about what some of those steps are?
Well, sure. You can either stop by the bulletin board or pick up the brochure that we have made. But there's really three places where you can read through this list of things, of activities and opportunities for spiritual growth. There's a list underneath of each of the three major steps that help you discover where you are in the journey now. So if, for instance, you're new to the faith journey, you're just starting your journey of discipleship, and you want to know, where do I start? You read down these steps that are underneath that particular heading, and it'll give you an idea of things you can do to help move yourself forward over time. For instance, sounds silly to say, but attend Sunday worship is a good beginning place. Or use the upper room daily devotional each day to keep in contact with God. Attend a Sunday school class or one of our special classes. And actually on each one of those also is some suggestions of how you can use your spiritual gifts. So it's not just a learning time or an experiential, but what can I actually physically do to make a difference in the world? And one of them on the beginning journey, part of the journey, is to maybe help lead a children's Sunday school class or join an Advent or Lenten study along the way, something like that. So for each of the steps, the first one being you're just beginning your journey, you read and see where you are. The next one is growing along the journey, and it lists things to do at that point, and you can check that out to see if that's where you feel you are at the journey, then start there and work your way on. And lastly, then maturing along the journey. And there's a list of things that we offer here at the church so you can make those next steps in your journey as well. Sounds complicated, but it's not really.
No, and one of the things that I discovered when I was reading through is sometimes I would find myself in each of those steps. Like there might be something in the beginning part that I could catch myself up on, and yet there were things in the more mature that fit in with me as well. So it's not as lockstep, but it certainly is a great blueprint for us.
Yeah, and one of the things we're discovering is as people come back to church who've been away for a while, those of us who grew up in the church have a foundation of some of the basic understandings and beliefs. But we now have people coming back who have no background whatsoever for a couple of generations. And it's hard for them to plug in.
Sure.
And they want to know how to do that. So hopefully this will be a way to help them.
That's wonderful. So other than the bulletin board in the main hallway, are there other places where we can find information about discipleship pathways?
Well, within the next week or two, probably leading up maybe to our church conference time, we'll pass out the brochures to everybody and make sure that everybody has one. In addition to that, we'll be focusing on this in an upcoming newsletter in the journey. And also, I'll probably make references to it at other times as well. So there'll be a plethora of ways to find out what's going on here with the pathway. But I hope everybody will take some time, just if nothing else, to think about where they are along the journey and how the church can help them move to the next step.
And it's my understanding also that there may be a new web page on our website, or a page that will describe that in further detail. And I encourage people to really look at Elm Park's website. There's so many things that are interesting on there, and I would encourage you to look at that and kind of explore all the different tabs. But if you do have any more questions about the things that Reverend Mike has talked about today and myself have talked about, please feel free to email either Reverend Mike or myself. I would like to thank everyone for watching this episode of the Elm Park Journey, and would like to thank Reverend Mike for being my guest today. If you haven't already, please check the subscribe button down below. If you have any ideas of topics we can discuss, please feel free to talk to or email Wes Biala, Reverend Mike Biala, or myself. Have a blessed week and stay in prayer. As we share our blessings and our struggles, we can support each other as we explore God's call for each of us. Let us help each other find ways of making disciples for the transformation of the world. Grace and peace for the journey.
Amen.
And remember, we are better together with God's help.